All right. So, 5 days ago on Tuesday, the Republicans got absolutely routed by a party, by the way, with an approval rating in the 20s. Like they lost that badly to a party that is widely hated itself. And there were, I think, many different issues that led to that outcome. But one of the big ones was, of course, affordability. That's the buzzword now. So here's Fox News broadcasting some troubling numbers about Americans' attitudes on affordability. 70% of Americans say groceries cost more than they did a year ago, and 60% blame Donald Trump.
This, as a new poll finds, about 70% of Americans say groceries are more expensive now than they were a year ago. And about 60% of them are blaming President Trump.
That's right. And the pundits kind of made matters a little worse here. Fox guessed food prices are up. There's nothing you can say about it. So not really doing any kind of PR cleanup for Donald Trump here.
Affordability is something we all need to acknowledge. Regardless of what party you're on, the voters are telling you that affordability is a problem. Whether it's gas prices or food prices, it's definitely on people's minds. And they voted and they showed us this is a topic we can't ignore.
Yeah, so Marcus, square this for me because the president said this in his Truth Social post, and it seems to be accurate. Walmart just announced that the prices for a Thanksgiving dinner is now 25% down 25% since under sleepy, crooked Joe Biden in 2024. Affordability is a Republican stronghold. Hopefully Republicans will use this irrefutable fact. So if that's true, I mean, growing up in Texas, everybody goes to Walmart. That's the number one retailer.
Yeah.
And then you got Amazon, of course. Why aren't people feeling it if it's down 25% with the...
Whoa, spoiler alert. It's not down 25%. Let me blow your mind here. It's not true, as we're going to demonstrate in just a minute. But this guest here is not buying it.
Groceries did.
Well, it may be true that the meal from Walmart is down 25%, but food prices are not down. And I don't think we should acknowledge that they are. And I think that's the one mistake that we maybe have made in the last several weeks is not just owning it. I don't think President Trump needs to run away from the fact that prices are up. They're up. I mean, there's nothing you can say about it.
No, there's nothing you can say about it. Indeed, that's true. So, of course, the basis of this question here, Walmart just announced prices for a Thanksgiving dinner is down 25% since last year. Well, this explains where that statistic comes from. Get ready to laugh, folks. Trump keeps touting a Thanksgiving meal basket from Walmart that's 25% cheaper, but it has half as many items as last year. So the dinner is half the size.
Oh,
but it's
wow.
still,
You can't make it up.
But it's only 25% cheaper.
Not even 50%.
Right. So if it were half the size, you'd think it would be half the price. No, it's half the size as last year, but it's only 25% cheaper. That's the rub right there. Claim Walmart prices show that the cost of Thanksgiving dinner is 25% lower in 2025 than in 2024. The facts. This is misleading. While Walmart's 2025 meal basket costs about 25% less than the one from 2024, that's because it offers fewer items and different products that make it more affordable. The 2025 basket costs less than $40 and feeds 10 people, about $4 a head, according to Walmart. In 2024, a basket for 8 cost approximately $56, less than $7 per person. That's about a 25% decrease, possibly more depending on price fluctuations. John Ferner, president and CEO of Walmart US, touted the savings in a LinkedIn post last month. But the baskets differ significantly. For example, this year's includes just 15 items compared to last year's 29. It's missing many dessert items, including a pecan pie, mini marshmallows, and muffin mix, as well as savory items such as sweet potatoes, yellow onions, and celery stalks. Wow, they couldn't even put the celery in. How much can celery be?
Yeah.
They're really nickel and diming you. Not even giving you a celery stalk. You can't even get a celery stalk for $40. Wow, so that... that explains the Walmart's 25% less for a Thanksgiving dinner. But Trump is very, very adamant about insisting that this Walmart meal is a bargain.
I just heard this yesterday that Walmart said that the Thanksgiving was 25% more expensive under Biden. That's to me, that's a big number because Walmart's respected. I mean, Walmart is Walmart, and they're giving you prices. So that would mean that the whole
they just said something,
series
and I
of pricing
believed it.
and costs, the groceries and everything else, it was a con job. It was a con job. Affordability, they call it, was a con job by the Democrats. The Democrats are good at a few things: cheating on elections and conning people with facts that aren't true. It was 25%. Walmart just announced it 2 days ago. 25% cheaper this year will be cheaper to have Thanksgiving than it was a year ago under Sleepy Joe Biden.
You say that affordability is a con job, as you put it.
Say it.
You said affordability was a con job, and you didn't want. You said last night you didn't want to talk about affordability.
I talked about it. When did I not want to talk about it? I talk about it all the time.
When did you not want to talk about it? Well, as the guy said, last night you literally said you don't want to hear about the affordability, which on top of just getting absolutely drubbed by the Democrats on Tuesday, it seems you added the courtesy of giving them a great soundbite for campaign ads next year by saying you don't want to hear about affordability. So this was the night before where after, going on and on about Walmart for about a minute, he lands on this.
They do a synopsis of everything. They cover every element of Thanksgiving meals, 25% down. So I don't want to hear about the affordability because right now we're much less.
I don't want to hear about the affordability. Yeah, that is gold. That is gold for Democratic consultants and campaign managers next year. So it's very, very nice of you to do them that favor. Now he goes on to talk about energy costs.
If you look at energy, we're getting close to $2 a gallon gasoline. With Biden, it was $4.50, $5. Another thing, inflation. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Now we have virtually no inflation at all. It's down at a very low number and a very normal number. So the affordability is much better with the Republicans. The only problem is the Republicans don't talk about it.
All right. Well, Scott Bessent is now talking about it, responding to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who actually raised a stink about energy costs. So Scott Bessent's response to Marjorie Taylor Greene saying affordability is a problem and that costs, including electricity prices, are up. Here he is this morning.
He just had posted this morning that there's almost no inflation. The consumer price index is higher than it was in the beginning of the year. Electricity rates are rising. So are prices for coffee, beef, vegetables, televisions. And it's not just me. It's not just economists who are saying that. Your own Republican members of Congress are saying that, including Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's look.
I go to the grocery store myself. Grocery prices remain high. Energy prices are high. My electricity bills are higher here in Washington, D.C. at my apartment, and they're also higher at my house in Rome, Georgia, higher than they were a year ago. So affordability is a problem.
How do you respond to Congresswoman Greene?
Well, George, what I would respond to is electricity prices are a state problem. And, I was very interested to see in the earlier clip where the governor-elect of New Jersey said, well, I'm going to bring down energy prices. Well, it was her predecessor, Phil Murphy, who took them up. So, look, there are things that the federal government can control. Local electricity prices are not one of them, but energy prices, gasoline prices are way down. And, we are doing what we can every day. I think we are on a very good path to bringing prices down.
Well, who's having a great time? Yeah. Essentially, it's not our problem. Yeah.
Hey,
wasn't
Scott Bessent George Soros's protege?
Yes, that's right.
But
right.
Trump named him Treasury Secretary.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? So many of the people who support Trump hate George Soros. They think Trump was against George Soros. Isn't that weird that they don't say anything about that?
It is very strange. It is very strange,
Very strange.
I think Benny Johnson will post about that from time to time, or Gunther Eagleman, or whoever. But no, not much. No. So as Donald Trump is just dismissing the affordability concerns outright, calling it a con job, a hoax akin to the Epstein files, And Scott Bessent's going on TV saying, yeah, that's not really our problem. It's out of our purview. Here's the scene at Mar-a-Lago on Halloween. We'll play a few seconds of sound and then mute it for copyright, but this will give you an idea. That's not nice. That's the scene. A Gatsby-themed Roaring Twenties Halloween party at Mar-a-Lago.
If that were any more on the nose, they would need rhinoplasty.
Yeah, exactly. And if that weren't enough, here's Donald Trump out golfing yesterday. Here he is. There's the motorcade on the way to the golf course. Had himself a nice time. And after the Halloween party, folks, CPAC apparently rented out Mar-a-Lago for their big retreat. An inspiring week awaits at the Mar-a-Lago Club. Join Fed Mike Benz, Executive Director of the Foundation for Freedom Online, and America's conservative leaders for the CPAC Circle Retreat and Gala, November 4th through 7th. Here was the scene there. Here is the seafood spread over at Mar-a-Lago for their big gala. A lot of shellfish there. You know what I think? I think that's anti-Semitism.
It really is.
All that shellfish. What is it? What do they have?
It's like he's mocking them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes doing a duet there. That explains all the shellfish. Bunch of Jew haters have taken over CPAC.
Well, I guess you guys, you're going to have to tighten your belts a little tonight. I'm sorry, we couldn't accommodate your people.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What the hell is that about? Hey, the cherry on top, folks. You know who a featured speaker at this event was? One Javier Milei, who just got a $40 billion bailout. He's there doing the Trump dance to the YMCA. Once again, we'll play a couple seconds here and then mute it.
Wow.
For copyright. There he is. Look at him. Happy as can be. Happy as can be. Look at him dancing there. Why? Well, he has every reason to be dancing and happy. He just got $40 billion of all of our money.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he be? I'd be dancing too.
So you have Donald Trump saying affordability is a con job. Scott Bessent saying energy prices are not our problem. While you have this guy being hosted at Mar-a-Lago, eating a nice seafood buffet, dancing the YMCA. I mean, you couldn't rub it in people's faces more. Like, you couldn't be more out of touch if you tried. And this is what explains this number here. Tuesday showed Trump is dragging the GOP down like a lion taking down an impala, as Dems got over 90% of Trump disapprovers. This comes as Trump hits term 2 approval lows nationally. Moreover, Dems' own unpopularity didn't matter. Because, like I said, those election results, those landslide defeats on Tuesday that the Republicans suffered were to a party with an approval rating in the 20s. Not even the 30s, in the 20s, the Democrats. And yet they still dominated, and this is why. Amongst voters who view neither party favorably, Sherrill won that cohort by 66%. That's the New Jersey Democrat. Spanberger, the Virginia Democrat, won that cohort by 56 points. That is pretty astounding. Yes, they got the post. That is pretty astounding that amongst voters who are dissatisfied with both parties, Democrats dominated like that. Because, look, this was always the caveat going into these races last Tuesday and going into the midterms. Like, yeah, as bad as Trump has fucked this up and as unpopular as the Republicans are, you're talking about the Democrats are the bad news bears, right? Like, they could always find a way to fuck it up. So will their unpopularity depress their margins? Well, the answer on Tuesday was a resounding no. They dominated amongst those who were dissatisfied with both parties. Why? Because these elections are almost always a referendum on the party in power. And I don't know what the hell you're thinking going on in front of a camera and saying affordability is a con job, grocery prices are down, You don't want to hear about it. Throwing roaring 20s Gatsby-themed parties at Mar-a-Lago, going golfing, hosting the leader of the country Trump didn't do this. Was CPAC, to be fair. But still, the optics are very bad for the conservatives in general. Hosting the leader of the country you just bailed out to the tune of $40 billion while you are going to the Supreme Court to stop food stamps from going out. You just can't get worse than that. Like, in terms of what the politics are, there's no getting worse than that. You can't do a worse job than that. It is just absolutely incredible. Incredible. What an open-handed slap in the face they are delivering to voters, which makes Tuesday's results very unsurprising in context.
Yeah, I will say, and I wouldn't say this just because I don't like somebody's politics. Trump is easily the worst president of my lifetime. He may very well go down as the worst president in history by far, because everything that people thought he'd be better about, he's not. And he's just essentially taking a sledgehammer to all social supports, all safety standards, just everything that people actually wouldn't want you to destroy. That's what he's destroying. And all the things that people who thought, you know what, fuck it, I'll take a flyer on this guy, the system's not working. The things that even if they didn't work, you'd rather have them there than have them taken away with no replacement, like the ACA subsidies. That's what he's going after.
Right.
That's what he's actually taking down. Now, on a 4D chess, New World Order, deep state level, play this out for a second. What do you think the result of this is going to be? How long is it going to be before anyone can ever again make the argument these people aren't as dangerous as you're making them out to be?
No, it's
right.
It's over.
That's it. So assuming that there are elections, well, what happens now, man? Now the Democrats are going to have more power than they've had in recent memory, maybe in living memory, right? Because nobody is going to be able to really make the kinds of arguments that people like us have been making for a very long time. What are you talking about? These parties they're both owned by the deep state, which is true, but the reaction that you're going to get from the average person on the street who lived through this is going to be shut the fuck up.
Of course.
They're not even going to want to listen to it.
No.
So now that New World Order that supposedly Trump was thwarting, first of all, he set up all the police state mechanisms by the time he'll be gone that they need to really make that work. And then you're not going to have any kind of meaningful opposition to the rainbow flag version of fascism, because people will have experienced this and they'll say, trans my kid, fine.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Fine, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, as long as he gets snapped.
Right. No, exactly. There's a lot of hay being made now about Nick Fuentes, and is Nick Fuentes the future of the right, and is that what's coming? And I honestly think no. Because I think we are the kid that fell down the well in this moment, right? Like people are going to remember this as the thing that you have to avoid at all costs. Much like, and not to compare, I'm not saying that Trump is Hitler, but in Europe, it's very hard for these right-wing nationalist parties to actually win because of the specter of because of the ghost of the Nazis, right? People are just hesitant to go there. Now, I'm not saying they're Hitler, but I'm saying it's going to have a similar...
That's why they elevate Daryl Cooper. That's why they
exactly. Yeah.
That's why they got a Fed to kind of in a subtextual way, because you can't come right at it, rehabilitate the Nazis, because it's a big obstacle to their project.
Right. Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying Trump is Hitler. I'm not making that point. I'm just saying it's going to have a similar kind of chilling effect where, like, you're going to have people remember this as the thing we can't take any chances with moving forward. And that is going to elevate the kind of status quo politicians that Russell's talking about.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom's going to look very, very, very fucking good by comparison. by the time people have lived through, we're not even into the first year yet.
No.
Do you imagine where people are going to be at after 3 more years of this?
The big, beautiful bill Medicaid cuts hit after the midterms. So you're not even going to feel the worst of it until after the midterms.
Right.
Now, you're telling me J.D. Vance is going to match up well against Gavin Newsom in 2028? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. And I'm not sure it will be Gavin Newsom. I have my doubts about that. I still think things are going to happen.
Just as an example.
Right.
Yeah.
But just as an example, yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to make any kind of case, as evidenced by these results on Tuesday.
Please clap.